You're probably feeling deja vu here, because I've already done this tag. But I have more than one main character. Hey guys, Crystal here, and today we are doing the main character tag, brought to you by the Troublemakers. Like I said before, I did this tag on this date, the video's above my head somewhere, where I actually looked at my character Elizabeth, who is the mainest of the main characters in my 4 main character story. Today, since I felt like doing it again, and promised this months ago, we're gonna look at Charles. Everybody's favorite sad boy. Well, I guess he's more than just a sad boy. But anyway, we're gonna get started. You guys can see it's still dark outside, so I hope this makes sense. And my editing self is probably crying in a corner while she has to edit this. Question 1. What is your main character's name? How did you, the author, choose it? And how does your character feel about the name? Charles has an interesting history. Much like Elizabeth, it's gone through different iterations. Originally, his name was Craven, because teenage me just has a great naming convention for werewolves. And I was obsessed with Underworld. But then I'm like, well, we can't call him Craven because people are going to think it's similar to that character in the way that, that character's an asshole. And where Charles originally was this mysterious guardian who's basically Angel from Buffy, and I say that because a line used to always pop in my head: "I'm a friend." Well, I didn't say I was yours, and that was a long time ago in a magical land far, far away. When I started looking, I'm like, I kind of still wanted to start with C, and I kind of wanted to sound old-ish, so Charles was what I came up with, I guess. Recently I started debating whether or not he has an original name, like a name from way back when, because I didn't think Charles was an old enough name, but I couldn't justify it or think about it. And then I'm like, you know what? This is my world, so in my world, Charles is old enough. And sometimes people just refer to him by his clan, his bloodline name, because he's like the son of Stormclaw, which was this really old werewolf. But that's as far as that goes. And how does he feel about it? I mean, it's a name and it exists, and as long as you don't call him Chuck, you're not gonna get mauled to death. Question 2. What is your MC's zodiac sign? Even if they live in a fantasy world, what is their vibe? I believe I looked this up. Editing me is gonna cut it down to make it look like this is instant. But, okie dokie. So, according to Google, Charles is a Gemini. Now, everybody's birthday is kind of like up in the air. Let's be real. But I guess I was kind of thinking about, my husband when I was starting to plan birthdays. Because Charles's vibe is very, wanna be your best friend, like, everything's gonna, like, basically your therapy dog, but a person. Um, take that for what you will. Half asleep Crystal is, thinks that makes sense. Like, consent is sexy. He's always there if you need it. He's really good chef. He's very, like, comfy, homey dude who's just been through some shit. And as long as you don't talk about the been through shit, because he's recovered from some stuff, right? Like, he's just your best friend. He is the guy you want to take home to your parents. So that's his general vibe. He is sweet. He is loyal. He's just the best boy. We love Charles so much. Yeah, that's his vibe. Does that count? Question 3. What is your MC's relationship with the person or people who raised him? Well, they're all dead by now, but he had a very strong relationship with his father. He was the loyal son. the champion of his clan and all of this stuff. And he held family very, very high, even if he had to like go away from the family for a while he played guard dog to the main character of the prequel, and they became best friends. Before that, like he's like very close knit with his family, and they're all gone now. But it was a great relationship while they're still alive. Question 4. What is your MC's most important memory prior to the start of the book series? Um, Most important memory, because it kind of shapes how he deals with situations from that are happening around him, is what I refer to the story is the last night, where it was this big war, this big battle, and it was the last night where they were in a particular location before all hell broke loose. And that was like right before the war began, and that was when the war ended, because that's when in the history the main character of the prequel dies, and they lose the war, and all these other spoilery shit that I'm pretty sure I've talked to ad nauseum, so it's fine. And so even after like hundreds of years have passed, it's still weighing on him constantly, and it shapes him as a character, and he recovers from all of the trauma and everything surrounded by that in the time it takes to get from the end of the prequel to the beginning of the first book. And then Elizabeth shows up, and that kind of opens wounds, so he has to try to deal with that. And sometimes it's like reliving that memory, but not at the same time, and it's very confusing for him. So the last night he saw Alex is just the biggest memory, and that's why we also call him Sad Boy. Question 5. Your character walks into a library. What section do they head to first? The DIY section, like where all the craft books are and stuff like that, because he's very handsy. Like he is a carpenter in his life right now. He likes doing things. He's not the biggest reader, but he would go check them out to see if there's any new projects he could try, any new techniques he can learn, because he's not like accredited or stuff like that. So he's self-taught is what I'm trying to say, because like he doesn't technically age, much like most of the vampires, because magic. So actually going to school and doing the things might get difficult for him. So I basically just figured, you know what, he's self-taught. So he would head to the DIY section. That is a roundabout way of answering that question. Question 6. Would your character survive the Oregon Trail? Yes. Not only is Charles immortal, has a magical necklace that heals all of his wounds at almost an accelerated rate. He is a werewolf. He grew up in a very dense forest where, on this island where you had to get your own foods and stuff. And there was little trade with the werewolves, but not much. So he's very good at survival. He knows more than basic first aid. Um, he would help a lot with the different medical issues that would come up, the different food issues that would come up, and also he's a freaking werewolf, so if anyone tried to hurt the people on the Oregon Trail, they would have to deal with him. And he's really good at fighting. Question 7. What would your character ask for if they made a deal with the Crossroads demon? At first I'm like, well, Charles wouldn't really do that because he's not really into making deals with the devil. He's not into dealing with magic. He's not into dealing with other supernatural creatures other than himself, up until the part where the first book begins. But then I'm like, you know what? He's our sad boy. And especially depending on when it would happen in his life, he would totally ask for the Crossroads demon to bring Alex back. He would be very sad when Crowley said no. Because reasons that I can't talk about. Question 8. what would your character think about on their deathbed? Well, since, like I said before, Charles doesn't age. So we're gonna say deathbed is like basically someone stole his necklace and now he's dying because, mortal wounds and stuff like that. It would very much be a very life passed before my eyes moment. Kind of trying to picture. There's a very specific scene that I'm planning on writing where there is a clearing, very picturesque, and Charles is sitting with Alex when they were teenagers and just enjoying that time and remembering that one very peaceful moment in their very chaotic, very dramatic, very blood-covered life. And like try to keep her in his head as long as possible until he dies. And that's it. That's all the questions. That's Charles. He's my sad boy. I don't know how to end this video. It's usually the part where I tag people, but since I've tagged people in the other tag videos, and I'm too lazy to look up to see if I tagged anybody last time and if they actually did it and all that stuff, I'm just gonna say, if you're watching this video and you have a main character you want to talk about, I tag you. I tag all of you, and I want to hear about your main characters and their stories and how you came up with them, because all of this is very fascinating. Thank you, Troublemakers, for making this tag once again. And the questions are really cool, and I like them. And if you guys want to see me take Darian or Kira through this, or if you want to hear about Richard or Christopher, the bad dudes, team bad guy, if you want to hear about any of them, let me know down in the comments below. I like doing this tag. I like thinking about my characters. I like talking about my characters. Your girl doesn't know how to shut up. But until next time. We're streaming. The Chaos Queens are back. I don't know when this video is coming out compared to when our schedule is, but there's currently a note right here saying when that'll be. And until next time, I love and appreciate every single one of you. And we will see you guys in whatever video or stream you find me in next. Bye, guys!